Today I wanted to talk about shutter speed to make sure that you're getting the correct settings regardless of the situation. So I've come down to Woburn Deer Park because it's the perfect place to show you the different types of shooting that you might encounter, such as shooting slower moving subjects, such as large mammals, all the way up to faster moving subjects, such as birds in flight. Plus at the end of the video, I want to show you tips and tricks that you can use to get sharp shots even at slower shutter speeds. And we're going to start off by talking about the slower, larger moving animals, such as this beautiful red stag you see behind me. Now in situations like in this deer park, it's not going to be moving very fast for most of the day, so I'm going to always start by shooting at 1/1000th of a second. This will ensure that I'm minimizing the amount of shake that I'm introducing to the camera, whilst freezing the motion, albeit very little motion, from our subject. Once I know that I've got a sharp shot, I can also choose to bring my shutter speed down. So if I start at 1/1000th of a second, I might try and bring that all the way down to about 1/500th of a second. In doing so, I already know that I have a sharp shot in the bag, but by bringing down my shutter speed, I'm also going to be able to bring down my ISO. And as such, by bringing down my ISO, I'm going to end up with a cleaner shot, which may even be sharper as well. And you can see that even when the deer is walking around, 1/1000th of a second is more than good enough to be able to freeze the motion of our subject. Now these are great guidelines for when you're shooting large mammals handheld. However, you can also bring your shutter speed down even lower than this. But in doing so, even if you have incredibly steady hands, and Lord knows I don't, you increase the chances of getting blurry shots through camera shake. So what I'd recommend if you want to bring your shutter speed down even lower is through adding something that's going to help you to stabilize yourself. Now there's a couple of different options for this. One is to use in-camera stabilization, which can be found either in the camera body or in the lens itself. And of course the other option is to have a mechanical support, such as a tripod, or like I did with this shot when photographing the Soay sheep and its lamb at the deer park. I put the camera down on the ground, and in doing so, it's going to be as stable as possible. And this is going to allow you to bring your shutter speed down even lower. So what about faster moving subjects such as birds in flight? Well, for birds in flight, I'd recommend using a shutter speed of at least 1/2000th of a second. By having a very fast shutter speed like this, we're going to be able to freeze the motion of the bird more easily. And as such, we're less likely to get any motion blur, which is going to soften our image. And so to summarize, with fast subjects, you want to be starting off with a shutter speed of at least 1/2000th of a second. Whereas with slower moving subjects, I would recommend using a shutter speed of at least 1/1000th of a second. And if you'd like a little cheat sheet that you can carry around with you out in the field, of not just shutter speeds, but all the camera settings that I recommend to get sharp shots, then I've made a free PDF just for you, and there's a link to it down in the description down below. Now with faster moving subjects, by shooting at a fast shutter speed like 1/2000th of a second, we're going to get very sharp shots, all the way from the tip of the beak through to the tip of the wings. However, with some bird species such as the gannets that I saw up at Bempton Cliffs, you can actually bring your shutter speed down even lower. This is because the majority of the bird is going to be relatively stationary throughout its flight as it glides along, but what you end up getting is a little bit of motion blur in the tips of the wings, and this can potentially be an interesting artistic choice. And if you're feeling adventurous and want to learn more about introducing motion into your photographs, then click on this video right here where I cover that subject in more detail. And finally, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next one.